Sacred places, times, and artifacts. While all four elements of this aspect are clearly different, they can be described together as the physical, geographical, and calendar parts of a religion. This one can at times get a teeny bit confusing, so confusing in fact that I had to re-record this video after being corrected by the chief examiner, so switch on. Spaces and places are the same, right? No. A sacred place is a specific location set aside for religious practice, including churches, mosques, synagogues, and temples, but also locations for pilgrimage like Jerusalem, Rome, and Mecca. A sacred space is also an area for prayer and religious practice, but they're contained within places, or act as temporary spaces. Examples include altars, chapels, and tabernacles, and mihrabs. So, while places most obviously include churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, chapels, and places of pilgrimage, sacred spaces are usually located within places, or are temporarily erected. Let's look at some examples. For this Catholic girl, her local parish church is a sacred place. So are Rome, Jerusalem, and the shrine at Lourdes. Sacred spaces include the altar and the tabernacle and the confessional. For this Muslim boy, sacred spaces include anywhere he lays down his prayer mat 5 times per day. He transforms an ordinary space into a sacred space by setting it aside for prayer. His local mosque is his local sacred place. However, Islam even ranks its holiest sacred places, so for him, the most sacred places are, in order, Jerusalem, Medina, and Mecca. This Jewish lad has his local synagogue as a sacred place, but one day he'll make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem because that is the most holy city in Judaism. You can see why folks have been fighting for Jerusalem for thousands of years. His sacred spaces include his chair at the synagogue, the ark in which the Torah is kept, and even the Western Wall Plaza in Jerusalem. Pilgrimages, or holy journeys like he'll make, often happen at particular times of the year. And that brings us to our next element, times. Every religion has a calendar of events that happen, usually in a yearly cycle. Some of these times are brief, lasting an evening or a day, and some are longer, lasting a month or more. In the Christian traditions, there are times when Christians are called to feast and celebrate, like Christmas and Pentecost. There are also times of fasting and preparation, like Lent and Advent. In Islam, all fit and healthy Muslims are called to fast between sunrise and sunset during the holy month of Ramadan. These sacred times are usually set aside to remember important people or events in the formation of the tradition. A great example of this is the sacred time of Passover in the Jewish tradition, which once a year reminds Jews of their exodus from slavery. These times serve as excellent teaching opportunities for young adherents, so you can see that at such times, stories and rituals are practiced. Once again, the aspects rely on each other. Finally, artefacts are important physical objects that have significance in a religious tradition. While they're often old, they don't have to be. Catholics see importance in the possessions and even body parts of saints. These are called relics, and Catholics use them as a way to focus prayer and to have a physical experience of the saint. Artefacts can also be particular items used for ritual worship, like a chalice or a menorah. So this aspect is a big one, and you might need to re-watch this video a few times. An easy quick reference might go like this. Spaces are where I pray. Places are where I go. Times are when I pray. And artifacts are the objects that help me pray.